Anybody that hasn't yet had this surgery, knows about this surgery, perhaps thinks that they're doomed to have this, like this is their inevitable future. No. Hey guys, hope you're all having a good day. I thought I'd just briefly pop on and talk a little bit about why I originally went carnivore, and ironically why I kind of went carnivore too late. So back in 2012 I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. It's an autoimmune disease. My immune system would attack healthy tissue in my colon. It would cause ulcers and bleeding and a whole array of nasty symptoms, basically. Lived with it for a couple of years, medication free. 2014, things had gotten worse. Wasn't able to manage it without kind of seeking help, and they basically put me on these drugs. I can't remember the name. And it wasn't until 2017 when I went and flared up again. And yeah, this time it was like seriously bad. It honestly felt like I'd been poisoned. Like my body was in this state where it was trying to rid itself of whatever it was that was corrupting my system and making me feel so ill. Literally going to and from the toilet 30 times a day. That's how it escalated. Bared with it for a couple of days, and I genuinely felt like, I can't do another day like this. So I'm going to have to get myself to the hospital. So I think they had a look at it for the first time since 2012. My whole colon was just completely riddled with this disease. So they were shocked when they were looking at it and figured that I wasn't probably going to get out of hospital without surgery. So they trialled me on an immune suppressant drug, and that's obviously a little bit dangerous for obvious reasons. They don't want to keep you on that for too long. Didn't work. It was a 50-50, I think, that I was going to go in remission and then be on medication. But it didn't take, so they came in, they let me know I was going to go straight into surgery. Your reality, in the morning we're going to take your colon out. So I knew a little bit about what I was heading towards, but I didn't know enough. I had some stoma nurses come round and basically talk about stomas and the bag, so basically now I have to wear a bag. It's such a shock to the system, and such a different way of life. When you're in hospital, there's a large element of you that feels like you're in the right place, that it's okay, that you're safe, and you're kind of heading down this path where everything's going to sort itself. Honestly, when I arrived home, it just all hit me, mentally. I think it was that whole sense of returning back to your life, and then that obvious thing had changed. Things weren't the same. And as much as I was definitely relieved that I didn't have to deal with my disease anymore, like that was gone. I'm disease free, I don't have that anymore. Part of me felt lucky to be one of the few that gets to the point where they have surgery. I don't know. I developed some pretty severe mental health issues just trying to come to terms with having to live with this bag and trying to figure out how I was going to move forward with this thing, because at the time I was single. At the time I hadn't long kind of dealt with a previous relationship, and then this happened, and it was kind of just bad timing. Everybody knows when you're newly single, or you're single and you're actually not wanting to be alone, doing life all by yourself all the time, you can be quite insecure in that frame of your life. So yeah, I was just doubting myself, doubting things, thinking, who wants to deal with this? I don't want to deal with this, so who's going to want to deal with it with me? This is like an additional counterpart that I'm going to have to accept and get used to and work with, drag around with me wherever I go. And my mental health deteriorated slowly but surely. I think everybody thought I was getting on really well. I think everybody was like, wow, it's amazing how well you're getting on with that. Like, I don't know if I could cope. I just had a couple of people say, not necessarily like they meant to say it to upset me, but just not very nice things like that weren't exactly encouraging. It kind of made me feel like that I had no option other than to get this reversed, but just because of the aesthetics, And I mean, let's face it, nobody cares about other people when they have a spot on their nose, but you care about it when you have it on your own nose. It's like I already am trying to deal with accepting this, the way it looks, the way it feels, the fact that I have to ask it permission to do anything, you know. The crazy thing is that I met Lucy, my partner, after, obviously, having the surgery and feeling the way I felt about myself and my life. And her sister was dating a guy who had a bag. They were engaged, so she knew about it. I know loads of people are familiar with it, but it doesn't exactly make it easy to approach someone and talk about being intimate, you know, because that's what it all comes down to when you start dating. That's an inevitable hurdle that you have to face. I was lucky to meet Lucy, and we're still together, you know. I have no intention of leaving, and she's been great. She's been really supportive. The messed up thing is that no matter how accepting other people are of me, I still don't accept me. And that's something that I learned. When I was younger, I thought that if somebody just loved you, you can get over certain things, but that's actually just not true, at least for me. And so it was almost realization of that itself that manifested my mental health into just severe depression. I struggled to get out of bed. I just wanted to be unconscious, asleep, and not wake up. When I woke up, it was like everything was just so unnecessarily hard. I didn't even want to do things I enjoyed, so I certainly didn't want to do things that I didn't enjoy, that you have to do. You know, you have to continue to press on. You know, the mortgage, the bills, my responsibilities, just your rhythm and your job. Like, you need to keep these things going, otherwise you can start losing things. Trying to compartmentalize your depression and these just deeply neurotic thoughts, while at the same time trying to press on and hold on to everything that you have. I actually got on the phone and I was going down that route of getting professional help, which we all know most likely leads down to a course of medication. Yeah, prescribe you this, prescribe you that. And I'm actually just hugely against unnecessary medication. I actually think 90+% of medication is totally unnecessary. But yeah, I was passed through to this other section of this help community. I was anticipating their call, and strangely, a lot of time eventually went past, and I was like, these people, I don't think they're calling. They've either called and I've missed it and I haven't got anything, or they've lost my details, or something's gone wrong. And during this exact period, I stumbled across anecdotes from Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson, which I'm sure you all heard of. And they basically were talking about their depression and their anxiety and their autoimmune diseases and symptoms and such, that all just kind of miraculously went away on a carnivore diet. Both of these human beings were depressed. They both had suffered with autoimmune symptoms, and they both committed to a carnivore diet, a strict carnivore diet. And after about 3 or 4 weeks, they reported, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks, that most of their symptoms just went away. Really, meat and fat and cholesterol and water and salt. I mean, part of me kind of knew it made sense, because you're restricting your diet so much that you're taking any potential culprit out, and then I guess it's up to you whether you want to start introducing foods. But the truth about the carnivore diet and what it consists of is that the food, and it's genuinely real food, is so non-inflammatory. I, of all people, should know, right? I mean, every time I eat protein and fat, any time I eat a roast dinner or a barbecue, it's just heavy meat consumption, I know that it just kind of turns to nothing. Like, it breaks down really easily. Your body absorbs and uptakes and utilizes all of the nutrients. It's so nutritionally dense, and it's just so easy on the gut. and just the digestive tract, you know. So anybody with Crohn's or colitis, right, is the absolute perfect candidate to try this diet, because if you're in remission, okay, that's great. But try the carnivore diet, you probably won't flare up for the longest time, you know. And if you do flare up, it's not going to be as bad. What's frustrating, obviously, to me is that I had to go through all of what I went through to wind up with a bag, sitting here on the couch, staring at the TV with the answer that I didn't have. There's no going back. Like I can't go and grab a colon from the shop. You know, I can't even be compensated or reimbursed. Nobody suggested that there was this other way, a natural way, the proper human way of being. Nobody once asked me about what I ate. Like, what's your diet? What does it consist of? Do you drink alcohol? Not one doctor, not one professional. All they talked about was drugs and what they could prescribe me. They haven't studied food. Barely anybody studied food properly. And there's very little meaningful studies and trials and findings out there that really correlate with anything meaningful. Eating and consuming the natural human foods, drinking water, that's what resolves all of your problems. Like, that's literally what would put you in remission. That's what would keep you in remission. So anyone that's sitting there that has stumbled across this video, honestly, I wish I stumbled across information like this. If you don't want to take it from me, go check out other carnivores, go check out the studies, the research, the science, because you don't have to worry about potentially winding up with the surgery I had to have. You know, you don't have to have a bag. That you're not doomed. It's not your destiny that you were born and you were doomed to accommodate this. I just want to help anybody that's in the situation that I was in years ago, dealing with my autoimmune disease. And honestly, anybody that hasn't yet had this surgery, knows about the surgery, perhaps thinks that they're doomed to have this, like this is their inevitable future. No. Seriously, check out some people that have the same autoimmune disease as you, and the result after literally about 3 or 4 weeks, it seems, most people are saying, like, you know, problem's gone, or like 90% improved. All meat and eggs and butter and fats and cholesterol, it's just all what your body loves. Your brain loves fat, it loves cholesterol, it loves just to be fueled with the right nutrients. If you're fueling your brain with nothing but sugar, glucose, like, not only are you not in the real world, like, seriously, it's like you're in the Matrix. That's just genuinely how I feel. It's like, I said to my partner, it was about 3 weeks in, and it was like, I swear, like, I've been unplugged and my eyes are open. I'm awake for the first time, you know, like I've been in a coma for years, and I can see the world for what it is, the way things really are. And it just all makes so much sense. That staying true to our ancestry, you know, or at least elements of it, is so important if you want to just feel like a human being. I mean, I genuinely feel like a human being for the first time in so long, I can't even remember. I mean, I suffered with so many different things. It wasn't just my autoimmune disease, it was anxiety, you know, definitely worse sleep problems, and just unnecessary stress, the wrong stress. Everything I was putting in my body was totally wrong, totally backward, and no wonder I felt the way I felt. It's true, you know, you definitely are what you eat. If you eat non-inflammatory foods, you are not going to be inflamed. You know, your brain is going to be clear, and your mood is going to be regulated. Your energy is the same. You have so much energy, and it just seems to sustain for really long periods of time. Like, I get away with eating 2 times a day, and I don't count calories. I just eat until I'm full, and then I'm done, and I feel great for hours and hours. And then I eat until I'm full, and then a few hours later I go to bed. I sleep better, I wake up so much easier, and the energy, like I say, like from the beginning of the day, I could skip breakfast, but I eat breakfast because I have a physical job. It's not crazy, but I'm a window cleaner, so I'm moving about all day or for a few hours. Yeah, so I definitely need more fat. I also need more protein, so I have a decent breakfast. I often have minced beef or minced lamb, or mix the two together, and I'll chuck a couple of egg yolks in there as well. This morning I had minced beef. I put a slab of butter on top with a tiny bit of salt, and I had a leftover pork chop, and that was my breakfast, and the raw egg yolk. And I literally went all day, and it's gone 6 p.m. I ate at 7:30, and I haven't even worried about food. I haven't really thought about it too much. I've got pork belly and beef short rib with some bacon in the oven right now, just crisping up. I would say that most people are probably consuming like less than 10% actual food, which is crazy. I mean, how do you even go about telling anybody that their diet consists of mostly poisons and half poisons, and it's madness, but it's the truth. And I wish I found any kind of information that would encourage me to go down the food route, the natural route. You don't need to be on medication. If you are, try carnivore, and you can just come off it. Your body will let you know. Your body will tell you, I don't need this medication anymore. I'm better. I'm doing well without it because I'm robust now. I'm not inflaming, my digestive tract with all these horrible foods